What up? What up? This is Donald from the Prince Stripe Chronicles here, and I just want to say a big, big thank you to everyone that's in the chat and that's been so loyal to our show. It's been a long, hard year with these Yankees, but you know we're always there for each other as our little family. So let's give a shout out to Jonathan. Good morning, Jonathan. Good morning, NFE. Good morning, Medina. How are you, Medina? And yeah, solo Dawn today. What up, Spence? How are you doing, my guy? So let's do a deep dive into this roster. There's a lot to get through. First of all, I think this I think this audit isn't going to happen. Here we were, excited that maybe, just maybe, Hal Steinbrenner maybe has learned from his mistakes and he wants to try and fix things. But now I'm reading that no, maybe he doesn't. And here we are, back to square one. I don't know what changes are going to happen. Everyone in the chat, what changes are you expecting to happen in this organization? Because it looks like Aaron Boone is back, which for me is absolutely ridiculous. It looks like Brian Cashman is back, which for me is absolutely ridiculous. And you know, we don't know any word yet on the analytics staff. If Fishman's back, then just I give up. You know, it's so disheartening, man. That this team used to hold people accountable. This was an organization which stopped at nothing to win, and now they're not even settling for mediocrity. They're just kind of settling for just protecting their own jobs. That's the vibe I get from this Yankee organization now. They're more worried about protecting themselves and their jobs than doing what's necessary to win. I'm not expecting major changes, and that really sucks. It really hurts after such an awful year. Let's see what NFE's got to say here. Hopefully, I have the approach analytics changes, and they're not having an audit come in. Of course not. It's just unbelievable. I mean, how can they possibly sell to the fans that they want to roll this thing back with Brian Cashman at the helm? No one wants Brian Cashman at the helm. Unbelievable. I really hope that Hal Steinbrenner comes to his senses, but he's not. This thing's getting rolled back. Aaron Boone's back. And we keep hearing these reports from like Andy Martino that's saying, oh, they view as Aaron Boone as part of the solution rather than the problem. I've been hearing this for 3 years, 4 years now. Every single year that the Yankees fail, which has actually been longer than 4 years, every single year the Yankees fail, we hear the same thing. Oh, the Yankee brass views Aaron Boone as part of the solution rather than the problem. Well, at what point do they view him as the problem? Because it's been going on for years now, and they don't ever succeed. When was the last time that the Yankees actually exceeded expectations and had a wonderful year under Aaron Boone? I can't think of any. They've always collapsed at the first hurdle in the playoffs. They didn't even make it to the playoffs this year, and Aaron Boone's fine. And now we're hearing reports that, oh, you know, the Yankees want Aaron Boone to be a little bit more forceful on his players, maybe hold some more players accountable. Well, you need a new manager for that, because that ain't Aaron Boone. It's never been Aaron Boone. Give me a freaking break with that. You want an actual manager to do that. Aaron Boone ain't that. What evidence have they got that Aaron Boone can suddenly be this guy? Because I've not seen it. Gleyber Torres doesn't run it out to first base. Oh, you know, he felt bad about it. Give me a freaking break, felt bad about it. You know? And this has been, Gleyber Torres last year when he threw to the wrong base and run scores. Oh, you know, well, it was a tough play. Give me a freaking break. Give me a freaking break. Come on. And we have to buy this bullshit from Aaron Boone again? Come on. Donald, watch Cashman spend for spend's sake instead of spending with purpose. I know. When was the last time Brian Cashman actually made a smart deal? I actually want people to answer that. When was the last time Brian Cashman gave us a smart deal? Let's list, right? Let's see if we can list 3 smart deals he's made since let's go 2017. Let's try and name 3. Watch the Yankees get older instead of younger. God, I mean, I have no faith in Brian Cashman. I think Brian Cashman will try and protect his job, so I'm sure he's going to spend a bunch of money. I mean, Spence has got a point here. The only change I can conceive is that Showalter will be offered an advisory position, which would be wise. The only thing is with that, would Buck Showalter accept a position being below Aaron Boone when he's 10 times the manager that Aaron Boone has ever will be or ever has been? I don't know. I don't see that personally. Why would he do that? Why would he why would he be like a bench coach or like an advisor to someone who he knows far more baseball than Aaron Boone ever will? I don't know. I don't see that. I don't really see that. I think that would be really tough to sell. It would be kind of like Bill Belichick accepting a defensive coordinator position, below a head coach who doesn't know half of what Bill Belichick does, in terms of football. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. But that's the problem that you have when you have such a below average manager in Aaron Boone. The only thing that I've seen Aaron Boone do, which is of any use, is when he goes and chases after the umpires. But the last time he chased after the umpire gave him shit in return. The umpire just went, well, look at your record. What have you done? What can Aaron Boone say in return to that? You're kind of right. I do kind of suck as a manager. Sorry. Yeah. Forget that balls and strikes thing that I'm complaining about. You're kind of right. I do kind of suck as a manager. What's all I got to say here? Can't name Didi because Didi was 24-15 and the exercise was since 2017. Exactly. Can't think of a smart deal since 2017. Okay. LI's got Clay Holmes and Garrett Cole. I've got Garrett Cole, but that's a no-brainer. Does that even count? You know what I mean? It's so obvious. It's like the best pitcher in baseball. You sign him. Oh, wow. I don't know. I don't even think that even counts. I'm sorry, Cash. You ain't getting that one. Clay Holmes? You could say Clay Holmes, but he's stunk as a closer. Exactly. Cole does not count. I agree. I don't think it counts. Anybody else? Let's see. Anybody else got any suggestions here for smart deals that Cashman's made since 2017? It's a tough one. It isn't obvious. I guess you could say Clay Holmes. That's a great point, Spence. Yeah. Does it really count? Because he actually screwed up by not making the trade for him with the Pirates when you could have gotten him a couple of years prior. Says it all. Says it all. Cole was a Hal decision, not Cashman. So, long story short, we ain't giving Cashman any credit at all. Oh, what a manager! What a general manager we have. What a disgrace! What a disgrace! This thing is a disgrace, and they're rolling it back. Oh dear, I just can't. I just can't. Let's see what NFE's got to say. Boone was given a garbage roster this year. Also, I really don't think Boone manages this team the way he wants. Analytics is telling him what to do. The guy is handcuffed. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'm also on Dev's side here. Boone is a joke of a manager. I also agree with that. Listen, I think both things can be true. I think Boone was given a garbage roster. I don't think he is managing the way he wants to manage, but I also think he's a joke of a manager. That's my prognosis of the situation. He is not ever going to take you to that next step. He's never, ever going to take you that step further. We're not winning World Series next year. Not with Aaron Boone as manager. It's not happening. I can guarantee you it right now. If you guys want to pull up the receipts, fine. But I'm absolutely locked down, guaranteeing you we're not going to win a World Series under Aaron Boone. He's just not that manager. When you have a manager that gives off vibes that it's okay to underachieve, you're not going to achieve. That's as simple as I can make it. It's as plain and simple as I can make it. Donald, if the Yankees don't do anything this off season, will you still tune in the games? I mean, to be honest, I barely tuned into the team prior to the All-Star break. This thing was falling apart then. The Yankees have done such a damage to my to my belief in that organization. It's hard to tune in every day. I still do it, but it's in the background. And the Yankees should never ever be background noise. They should be forefront noise, but they're not, because they piss me off because I can pre-predict everything that they're gonna do because they're not that smart. And that should never happen. Some dude that's running into a microphone should not know and have a better plan as to how to build the Yankees than the frickin' people in the front office. And it's not even hyperbole. It's everyone in this chat has much better plans than Brian Cashman ever has over the last 2-3 years of building a decent roster. You know? I mean, it's just so obvious. The obvious move was to not piss off Aaron Judge. What did Brian Cashman do? Pissed off Aaron Judge, right? The obvious move was to bring in a left fielder. What did Brian Cashman do? Not bring in a left fielder. It's just, honestly, it doesn't make me a freaking genius running into a microphone just telling the obvious truth that, yeah, they mismanaged this organization. It's a mess. And when they give off the vibes to the media and to the fans and to the clubhouse that it's okay to underachieve, then they will underachieve. That's guaranteed. That's just the way it goes. That's the way it goes in life, and that's the way it goes in sports and in any kind of competitive environment. That's the way it goes. If you give off the impression that it's okay to not be at your best, then you won't be at your best. That's just the way it goes. And it's disgraceful that we're doing this regarding the New York Yankees. I should not know how to build a better roster than Brian Cashman, but I'm pretty sure I can. Because it isn't difficult. Bring in a decent left fielder. Bring in some lefty bats. Oh boy! Mind-blowing stuff here in the Pinstripe Chronicles. What is up, Mazza, my guy? What is up? What is up? Okay, so that's my rant. I'm very, very disappointed to read that Hal Steinbrenner is backing away from his previous threats that Aaron Boone was maybe going to be fired. That's what we were hearing. Looks like he's staying now. It looks like they're going to do a deep audit in the organization. Looks like that's not going to happen now. Everything that we heard is not happening. And that really sucks. And another thing, if you listen to Aaron Boone, if anyone even thinks about defending Aaron Boone, listen to Aaron Boone on Talking Yanks the other day when he was asked specifically about Aaron Judge's comments, where Aaron Judge goes to town on the analytics, goes to town on the way that the Yankees interpret analytics. He goes to town on all of that. And Aaron Boone is asked about it on Talking Yanks. And what does Aaron Boone do? He pretends that he didn't say those kind of things. He's like, oh, it's just he doesn't have an answer for it. So once again, Aaron Boone is defending this joke of an organization, and that means that nothing's going to change. That's what I view. I don't think things are going to change. He does not want. I don't know if Aaron Boone will ever just stand up on his own 2 feet and have an opinion. Give me an opinion. Even if it's a bullshit opinion, give me an opinion. But he won't. He'll give you the opinion of Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner, and that's freaking sad. Patsu, we all were excited with the kids coming up and bringing us back to the team, even when we were out of the playoffs. Let's be positive about next year and hope things are better. Fundamental baseball, please. Well, you're not going to get fundamental baseball with Aaron Boone. That's not going to happen. That's the truth, because we've been seeing it for years. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to be realistic. Like, we keep saying this year on year. Oh, maybe things are going to be different. Maybe this year we're going to be a younger team. Maybe next year we're going to, maybe next year we're going to have some fundamentals. And maybe next year we're going to have some accountability. It never happens. It never happens. It never happens. But anyway, let's do a deep dive into this roster, guys. Let's start with the bullpen. The bullpen, guys. How would you make up the bullpen next year? Where's Clay Holmes fit? Etc. etc. Let's get into the bullpen and we'll see what everyone has got in mind. I think we need a new closer. I think it needs to be outside the organization, but there are some really good arms coming through that we could consider turning into a closer. But we do need a new closer. But another thing, will Brian Cashman admit his mistake? Because Clay Holmes is his guy. You know how Brian Cashman is loath to admit his mistakes. Li, it's not to say this, but Joe Judge could probably run the Yankees better than Brian Cashman. 100%. Holmes had 3 blown saves all year. Oh, come on. Don't give me that. Holmes was horrible this year. Brito should be our closer for sure. Okay. I could ride with that. What's up, D-Rod? How is it going, my guy? Holmes has got a great sinker, man, but you cannot rely on him as a closer. You just cannot do it. He's blown key saves. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. Medina backs me up. Holmes is not a closer. He absolutely is not a closer. I mean, unless you want to be stressed out of your mind the few times that we actually have a save situation, then no. The Miami game, that was it. No, I agree. I think if you put him in the 7th or 8th inning guy and make him a 7th or 8th inning guy, that's fine. The upper deck. All right. Good to see you on with us. It's a joke that this so-called audit was a hoax. Do you really believe that Hal is going to have his team observe another organization to see how they do things? No, of course not. Of course not. Because then they're going to look dumber than they actually are already projecting themselves as, which is pretty damn dumb. But when you start comparing them to other organizations, it's going to be bad. Because the Yankees have completely mismanaged this organization for years. FJ has got a point here. On the surface, Holmes' overall numbers are okay, but Holmes showed he's better as a 7th and 8th inning guy instead of the 9th. I completely agree. Look it up. 23 saves, 3 blown in 23. I'm sorry, Steve. I'm not buying it. He's the problem with Clay Holmes, and you can look at the numbers if you like. His ERA isn't that good for a closer, by the way. But The one thing that he has is he's got an excellent sinker. But if his sinker ain't sinking, then it's a disaster for him. So I'm sorry, I can't rely on that as a closer. You want a closer that actually has a brain on the mound that's like, okay, well, if my get out pitch isn't located, I can find another pitch that can get me through it without blowing the freaking game. Clay Holmes doesn't have that ability. So I want a closer that is less reliant on a sinker, which at times just doesn't sink. Sometimes it just sits there, at the top of the zone, gets creamed. I want the Yankees to trade for Garrett Crochet from the White Sox and sign Josh Hader. Interesting. Holmes had a good September when the pressure was off. Holmes cracks under pressure. Yes, that's a great point as well, FJ. He does crack under pressure. So I think the general consensus is that 99% of us want a new closer. I'm completely on board with that. So that's a start there. Let's look at the starting rotation. I think we're all pretty much settled on Mike King as a starter. I'm pretty good with that. Obviously Garrett Cole. You're gonna have Rodon there. I don't understand what's going on with Rodon. I'm not commenting on him turning his back on Matt Blake. I don't think it's that big a deal. It just probably means that there's probably not that much respect for Matt Blake, in my opinion. Rather than making it all about Rodon, seems like there's not that much respect for Matt Blake. And that's one of the issues that Brian Cashman has. When he just brings in coaches that are from an analytics background that don't have a resume as a pro, sometimes certain pros out there aren't going to take you seriously. That's why I always wanted David Cohn to be our pitching coach, or Andy Pettit. You can have Andy Pettit or David Cohn as the pitching coach, and you can have Matt Blake kind of working in the background as part of the analytics department, and helping with the strategy. But you kind of want someone that has that kind of experience that a pitcher like Rodon can lean on. That's my belief, and that's my belief that actually I think it's probably a good idea that we brought back Sean Casey to be a hitting coach, because at least he does have a decent resume as a pro. I like that as my coaches. Rodon was angry and didn't want to see anyone come out. Had nothing to do with respect for Blake. Well, I disagree, Steve. If you read Kevin Kiernan's article on Ball 9, he kind of intimated that there's an issue with respect for Matt Blake. Upper Deck, I hear what you're saying about Blake, but be a professional, at least appear to listen to your coach with tens of thousands watching. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I'm not defending Rodon. I just think it speaks to the lack of respect that these established Yankee veterans have for our coaching staff, in my opinion. Now, obviously, Aaron Judge loves Aaron Boone. It's probably because it's all he knows, but I don't think pros really respect Aaron Boone, and they sure as hell don't really respect our coaching staff. So, so as I say, we'll go back to the rotation. We've got King, we got Cole, and we got Rodon. I assume Nasty Nestor will be in there as well, and maybe that opens up one spot for signing Yamamoto. I think that would be my rotation. Anybody else have any other suggestions? D-Rod says Rodon is a bigger child than Alek Manoah. Oof, that's a big statement. NFE says move Nestor to the bullpen. Poor Nestor. Let's not forget that Nestor was an all-star just last year. So just the year before this past one. So I don't know. I want to give him one chance, but it is concerning what happened to him this year. I'm not going to pretend that it wasn't concerning. It looks like teams have got the scouting report on him now, but because they're sitting on his cutter, and I've got dogs barking here. I would trade Cortez, Schmidt, and King. I wouldn't trade Schmidt. I don't know. Maybe I would trade Schmidt. I would try and keep Cortez. I definitely keep King. Schmidt, I still think is actually the odd man out. I think you're probably right. I think Schmidt is probably one that you could put together in a package. So that's the rotation. Let's look at this lineup. We've heard rumors about Bellinger. You guys be on board with Bellinger? I think he'd be a really good bat to add to this thing. We definitely need a lefty bat. Definitely need an outfielder with power. LI, who would you trade those guys for? Yeah. Rodon is misjudging New York City. So, yeah, let's get back to the offense. I'd love a Soto trade, as mentioned here. I would love a Soto deal, and Bellinger would be a possibility as well. One or the other, I think. I don't see us getting both. I think I'm on board with Bellinger. The question is, will they get him? They should have signed Bellinger last year. Yeah, they probably would have saved our year this past year had they actually given Bellinger. If they made a deal for Bellinger. NFE, I'm trading those guys for prospects so I can have more bullets for deals. Well, you know what? I cast my mind back to last trade deadline when we had an opportunity to trade Bader. We had an opportunity to trade Severino. Had an opportunity to trade Wandy Peralta. And we passed on all three. And all those could have been bullets to add to a deal for a Soto or whatever. That's what this organization isn't doing. They're not forward thinking. They're not planning years in advance. They're not playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers. They're just not that organization. It was kind of a no-brainer, considering where all those guys ended up in a team that wasn't going anywhere. You could have used them as a trade piece to bring some pieces back in order to add to a future deal. But this is the Yankees we're talking about. The Yankees don't do smart. If the Yankees get Soto or Bellinger, the Yankees are not automatically contenders. They still have holes in the lineup. They have a ton of holes in this lineup. Holy moly, do they have holes in this lineup. I'm pretty sure that Peraza is playing third, unless the Yankees really don't like him, which, I don't put anything past them. I think short, obviously Volpe. Second, I don't know what they're going to do with Gleyber Torres, but more likely than not, Gleyber comes back. Rizzo, I think he's going to be back. I don't know what kind of capacity, but I think he's going to be back. The outfield, Aaron Judge and Wright. Aaron Judge has apparently canvassed the organization to give Stanton more action in left field in order for him to be healthier. So the fact that Aaron Judge is once again saying stuff that we as a podcast have been saying, that Stanton is a dreadful DH. He's a terrible DH. He's not the type that's going to sit there on the bench and then stand up 4 times and be productive. He needs to be moving. His body needs to be moving. His muscles need to be moving. So you're probably going to be looking at left field Stanton plus somebody else, like maybe a Bellinger. Center field, I think it's going to be Dominguez, but he's not going to be ready until about July. So you're probably looking at maybe a situation where one of Bellinger and Soto plays there until Dominguez is ready. Maybe you bring in another guy. I don't know, like a fourth outfielder. Not quite sure what their plan is with that, but we got Backstage Media here, and I want to say a big salute to Backstage Media. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining. Brewers knew Hader was a 3-out guy, and Padres knew this for trading him. Well, organizations are generally smart, except the Yankees. So, Peraza played at second base in the last game. Does that tell us anything? Yeah, it could. You could have a situation where Peraza moves over to second, Volpe plays short. I still think Peraza's our shortstop. Peraza's a much better shortstop than Volpe. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And then maybe you go into the market and bring in a third baseman with a bit of power, like a Chapman. Sign Bellinger as a stopgap. I think we get Bellinger. Dominguez loses the spot potentially. Kiermaier was available last year when we needed a left fielder. Didn't sign him. Now he's an option. Shake my head. Bro, it was so obvious. There's a ton of moves they could have made for left field. They just didn't do it. Do you try to convince Jordan Montgomery to come back? No, that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. The Yankees, first of all, are not going to admit the fact that they screwed up with the Jordan Montgomery thing. Jordan Montgomery's ended up being one of the best pitchers in baseball. Brian Cashman is not going to admit that he didn't have a spot for Jordan Montgomery in his all-world freaking pitching rotation in the playoffs, so he shipped him out. And it upset a bunch of things. I think it upset the locker room. It certainly upset Jordan Montgomery. I'm sorry, Brian Cashman's not going to admit mistake and go, we're bringing him back. Oh, yeah. Sorry. That's never going to happen. That ship has sailed. Montgomery's moved on, and Montgomery's a better pitcher outside of New York. These other organizations have found something with Jordan Montgomery that the Yankees couldn't find. And this is something which is a reoccurring trend. This is why it's absolutely unacceptable that Brian Cashman is coming back, because he does not find that magic elixir with these guys. There's a ton of examples now where players are moving elsewhere and becoming better players out with the Yankees. And I'm not going to blame it on the fans booing or any of this shit. It's not like that. It's about development, and the Yankees don't do it. Just like Sonny Gray, exactly. Pinstripe Chronological, that's my agent MH. Salute. He's got his guy Pete Alonso in his as his icon. Wonder what's going to happen with Pete Alonso now that he's changed to Scott Boras. Does that mean an for the Mets? That would be interesting. I think Alonso will he'll demand the moon and the stars just to come back to the Mets probably. Right, but what we've got here, Patsu's got says here that Torres has to stay at second, Rizzo at first, Volpe short, Peraza third, Judge in right, Dominguez in center, Bellinger in left, and Wells catching. Yeah, I think Wells is catching. We keeping him. Well, I mean, you got to say that because you're a Mets fan. You need to hold on to all the good players that you got, which isn't that many. So I agree the Montgomery ship has sailed. I really don't know. Is there a smart move that is out there for Brian Cashman? I mean, obviously Bellinger and Yamamoto are kind of obvious moves. So, I mean, Soto, if he can pull off a deal for Soto while keeping a hold of Dominguez, then and Peraza, I think that's a win. If they can make a deal. And that includes, obviously, it'll probably mean that trading Spencer Jones. But if you can bring in a Soto without giving up a Dominguez and a Peraza, I think that's a win, in my opinion. And I would give Brian Cashman credit for that. Blake Snell, the Yankees can't get Yamamoto. They have to get Yamamoto after the fact that the whole organization was in the stands, they got to get him. If they don't get him, it's another massive fail on this organization. Trading for Trev Rogers from the Marlins. It's interesting. Cashman's smart move will be resigning. Yep, that's getting a star for me, my guy, FJ. Absolutely. That's the one smart move that he could have made since 2017. Resigning. You absolute clown. Oh, Brian Cashman is such a disgrace. It's absolutely mind-blowing how much of a disgrace of a general manager he is. What no Yankee fans talking about? Padres have made Soto number one priority this offseason. I think he could go. Oh, I agree, Donald. I'm just saying, if they can't, they may have to pivot to him. Yeah. No, I think that's very realistic. But we were all excited about Rodon, and the Yankees have gotten the shell of Rodon. Are we concerned about Rodon? Because we're not really talking about it, but I mean the way that the Yankees have the track record with pitchers apart from Garrett Cole ain't good. It ain't good. So I don't know. Are they screwing up Rodon? Is it going to be a situation where Rodon's going to collapse and then he moves on for nothing, for 10 cents on the dollar, and then he goes to another team and then he's a Cy Young candidate? I mean, I put nothing past. I'm putting nothing past Brian Cashman and this Yankee organization screwing up Rodon. Upper Deck says yes, he is not the second ace. Well, he should be. He's got the stuff. I just, the way that the Yankees are constituted, I really don't think that they develop guys well. I don't think that they make the most out of their abilities. I think there's a lot of real concerns, and an audit should be carried out because those concerns would be magnified. And what I'm saying is I don't think that the Yankees want to face the facts that they aren't very good at their jobs. It's crazy. Yes, bad seasons happen. Yes, injuries happen, right? We get it. We get it. But the Yankees have almost unlimited amount of money to spend. They have unlimited resources. They have a ton of resources. They should be able to get the best of the best. They have a giant analytics department, as big as any in the sport, as big as any in any sport. They have the money and the resources. They've got a giant stadium, which is akin to a shopping mall, which just absorbs and spits out money just like nothing else you're going to see. The Yankees are a money-making brand, so it's kind of unacceptable that they are where they're at. There's no excuse for this. I don't even think making the playoffs and being out in the first round is something to be proud of when the Yankees are where they are in terms of where they're shopping. You know, they can afford to shop in Lord and Taylor and and not the discount aisle. They can afford to shop at the very, very top bit. And they have not gotten any return on their investment. They've brought in bad managers. They've brought in bad coaches, bad analytics staff, and a bad development team, and a horseshit general manager. And that's why the Yankees are where they're at. So I think it's really unacceptable. And if Hal Steinbrenner really, really wanted to fix this thing, he'd have to do that deep dive into the organization and start cutting things down. Start going through it. I don't think you need this massive analytics department. I think that's what Aaron Judge is going to feed back to them. I don't think you do. I think they need to prioritize different numbers. I think they need to prioritize more on batting average and on base percentage. I think those are two things that are priorities. And they also need to preach fundamentals at the plate, going the other way. If there's a runner at second, try and go the other way in order to advance the runner. You just hit and run, smart baseball moves. If there's a runner at third and less than 2 outs, aim for a sac fly. Just get that runner across. Just smart baseball. Smart baseball. Aim for contact. And they just don't do it. So there's a lot of work to do. It's kind of unacceptable that the Tampa Bay Rays make the playoffs and win more games than the Yankees have over the last few years, and they don't have a tenth of our resources. So, as Medina says, smart or Yankees. The Yankees don't do things that are smart. Batting average is a must. Unacceptable to have 200 hitters who are getting ridiculous amount of money. Oh, completely agree, Spence. They need to dial it back on launch angle. This launch angle thing is such nonsense. Like, I really don't care how hard you hit the ball. Hitting a ball 103 miles an hour, but it's straight at a shortstop, does not mean that it's a great hit. Right? It doesn't. Give me 80 miles an hour in the gap as opposed to 103 miles an hour straight at a shortstop. Sorry. That's one of the big issues that I have with analytics. It's like, come on. That's not what the game is about. It's not how hard you hit the ball. It's where you freaking hit the ball. That's as simple as it is. It's as simple as that. You can hit a dribbler down the third base line, but it's a seeing eye single, and that could be at 40 miles an hour, but that will be more beneficial to you than 103 miles an hour straight at somebody. I take that 10 times out of 10. So that's what these analytics guys, these analytics gurus from Harvard on their laptops who've never played baseball in their lives, they don't get. They don't understand. And they will bang their fists on the table and tell us that we're wrong and that we don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, we do know what we're talking about because it's baseball. We've been watching it for decades. Everyone here combined, we've probably watched it for about 100 years combined. Minimum, right? So we know baseball. We know how it's freaking played. It's not about how hard you hit the ball, it's where you hit the ball. Don, when was the last time you saw Boone pull off a suicide squeeze play with a runner on third and no outs? That's hilarious. Could you imagine? Could you imagine which Yankee, though, could you see carrying that out? Yeah, the Yankees do have to have a better approach with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. That's a great point. I think that's going to be better with Sean Casey. I think he's done a slightly better job because Dylan Lawson was such a disgrace. He didn't know what he was doing. Just another Brian Cashman genius move. And in general, say the good outweighs the bad. They need to step back from that generalization. Yeah, I mean, give me fundamentals all day over what your analytics tell me. Give me fundamentals. I just want fundamentals. And I think that's one of the big issues why the Yankees have been underachieving for years. Because Aaron Boone, he runs a real laissez-faire organization. It's, we say kumbaya. It's very much chilled. No one's held accountable. It's a happy-go-lucky locker room. And that's wrong in a competitive environment, in my opinion. It's completely wrong for a competitive environment. People need to challenge each other. You want competition for places. You want a situation where if I screw up and I don't run a ball hard out to first base, that there's a chance I'm going to get benched the next day. You need that. You need that accountability. Otherwise, it's not really a competitive environment, is it? So that's one of the big changes I want. I want a competitive environment. One. Two, I want fundamentals. Fundamentals are absolutely vital. Uh, Aaron Boone has no idea how to coach fundamentals. That's one of the things that Joe Girardi and Pena and Rob Thompson did, was they very much knuckled down on the fundamentals. And it didn't matter if you're A-Rod or Derek Jeter, everyone was held to the same standard in terms of fundamentals. And that helps you with a locker room. But it looks like with Aaron Boone, it's just like, hey, you guys do what you want. It's cool. We love each other. We all love each other. Give me a frickin' break. Thank you. Yes, exactly. That's what it's been. That's what it's been for years. It's just been years of just this chilled attitude. I mean, and if anyone thinks it's hyperbolic, it's not. Just look at Gleyber Torres throwing to the wrong base last year, or a bunch of guys not running it out to first base. People taking the wrong route in the outfield. You saw when Aaron Hicks was playing center field and he was spun around like a pretzel. The fundamentals are out the window. People are throwing to the wrong base. People aren't running out ground balls. How many outs did we make on the base paths where there was dudes that were running, making the first out at third? I mean, that's something that you're taught, like when you're 6 years old, not to do. And the Yankees were carrying it out on a daily basis, and nothing happened because that's Aaron Boone. That's your manager. Apparently he's the solution. Give me a fucking break. Excuse me. Give me a fucking break. Solution my ass. He's not a solution to anything. He doesn't do anything out there as a manager. There's no fundamentals. Amen. Getting a star for that. Exactly. You can't run a third when the ball's hit to shortstop. How many times did the Yankees do that this year? It's because the analytics nerds don't know anything about fundamentals, and Aaron Boone doesn't carry anything out because he doesn't stand on his own 2 feet. But, I mean, I don't even think it's a Gleyber Torres problem. I think it's a Yankee problem. Yeah, Torres doesn't help because Torres makes a bunch of dumb things happen on a daily basis because he kind of gets kind of lazy. But the Yankees allow it. They cultivate it. They're like, oh, we love each other. We're all friends here. They try really, really hard. You know, the Yankees could lose 25-2, and Brian Cashman will say that, they're trying really hard. You know, it's just like it's all lovey nonsense. Just it's not gonna cultivate a competitive environment. Exactly. I mean, our base running was ridiculous. So that's why, I mean, surely that has to fall on the manager. There has to be something that Aaron Boone has responsibility for as a manager. Because all I'm hearing for people that defend Aaron Boone going, well, he inherited a terrible roster. True. But surely a manager is in charge of, let's start with fundamentals. Guys running to the right base. Effort every day. General enthusiasm on the on a daily basis. I'm pretty sure that as a manager, you're in charge of those things. How about managing a bullpen? Organizing when to do hit and runs, when to steal bases, all these things. Surely those things fall on the manager. And by the way, all those things I've listed are all the things that Aaron Boone and this Yankee organization are terrible at over the last couple of years. So the idea that he's part of the solution is a whole lot of fucking horse shit. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of horse shit. Tired of it. I'm exhausted with it. It's really hard to keep going year on year being told that things are going to change and nothing changes. So we just go around in circles. But go back to it. I think the biggest thing that the Yankees are going to do this year, they have to get back into some form of fundamentals. Dial it back on the analytics. Dial it back. Analytics is very important, but it can't be the be all and end all. And also, you need to interpret the data better because the Yankees' interpretation of data is freaking embarrassing. We're talking about one of the best teams in the world, most important teams in the world, and they don't do the basics well. Let's see what we got here. I laughed my ass off when Vlad got picked off. Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't laugh too hard because they made it to the playoffs. Boone does make a lot of questionable calls and doesn't make the smartest decisions. I do get annoyed at times. I get annoyed all the time with Aaron Boone. I just want him to go, please. I want Brian Cashman to go. I want a fresh start. It's been going on for years now. Yankees are the least fundamental team, least athletic team I've ever seen in a very long time. Medina, big star for that. Agreed. Absolutely no ounce of fundamentals and no ounce of athleticism. So that's the first thing Brian Cashman has to do. Stop being so obsessed with righties. Stop being so obsessed with a whole line of DHs. He needs to bring athleticism in there, and he needs to bring in some lefty hitters in there. Luckily, he's already got one sitting there in Wells. Wells is your catcher. Wells is your catcher. Absolutely. For me, Wells is the catcher. Bats from the left side. He's got some power, and I think over the offseason he's going to improve in receiving the ball. I think he should be our catcher. Who do I like in the World Series this year? I like the Braves. I think the Braves are going to win the World Series. I love their team. I absolutely love their team. American League? American League? I wouldn't put anything past the Orioles. They're a deep team. They're a very deep team. Rangers are good too. Wouldn't put anything past them, but I think the Braves run away with it. Win the World Series. Yeah, the Rangers are sneaky. They are sneaky. They're getting hot too at the right time. I'm going with the theme of today's topic. I predict Buck will be offered an advisory role. Whether he'll take it is another story. It would be great to have Buck Showalter involved in the organization. I really would like to see that because he's a smart guy. Smart man. He's forgotten more baseball than any of us will ever know, including Aaron Boone, including Brian Cashman, and including pretty much the entire organization. But I just don't see why he would accept that. Why would he accept being below Aaron Boone? You know, I would be embarrassed being below Aaron Boone. I know it's funny for me to say that, but I genuinely feel that way. Aaron Boone's not a good manager, guys. He's not. So why would Buck Showalter accept that? I don't know. I think the Yankees will get the pitcher from Japan. I think they will too. I think they have to. They have to make a statement. But one thing that they have to do is they have to listen to Aaron Judge, right? And that was one of the things I was concerned about was that Aaron Boone poo-pooed it away when he was asked about Aaron Judge's comments, that he tried to downplay it. And that concerns me because Aaron Judge should be listened to and Aaron Judge shouldn't. And I think that's pretty much like Aaron Judge should be listened to and Aaron Boone shouldn't, is the way I would put it. Cool will be involved in these discussions as well. It scares me. Yeah, it's important that we do, but it kind of scares me that the Yankees are so lost that they have to ask their best players for help. It's never a good sign. Am I the only one that doesn't want Buck Showalter as manager? You're not, because Rob does not like Buck Showalter. And Rob was right. Rob was right that it didn't work for him in the Mets. But you're not alone there. I would like Buck Showalter involved in some capacity in the organization, maybe in the front office. I just don't see him being a bench coach where he knows infinitely more than Aaron Boone. But maybe that could work. I'm not sure. I would like a new manager. I just think the Yankees need to stop this nonsense because, again, they've already. Let's look at how these past few years have gone, and we're going back into Aaron Boone again. But I'm pretty passionate about this because the Yankees just have a blind spot for this guy. Read the tea leaves, right? They always say, "Oh, we need a little bit more from Aaron Boone to be a little bit more firm with his players," right? This has been going on for years. What did they do when Aaron Boone signed a new contract, which he never should have done? What did they do? They fired all his coaches and they brought in new guys, right? That was meant to put a fire under him, right? That was meant to make your seat a little warm. Because if you look at any other sport, and football is the best example, if you have a head coach, but you want to make his seat a little warm, you don't want to fire him, but you want to make sure that they know that head coach knows that his seat's a little warm, you fire all his assistants, right? So they did that with Aaron Boone when he signed a new deal. They fired his assistants, he's fired his friend, and brought in new guys. Hasn't made any difference at all. In fact, it's made things worse. Why? Because Aaron Boone is still Aaron Boone. Boone's never going to change. Stop trying to reinvent him as a manager. If you want a manager who is a babysitter, who will do what he's told, and a team that's pretty much ready to win from the get-go, he's your guy. He's your guy, right? He's your guy. If you want a manager who is going to hold people's feet to the fire, remind them what it means to be Yankees, remind them what their expectations are on a daily basis, he's not your guy. He never was your guy. And he never will be your guy. That's just not him. Boone was soft as a player. He's soft as a manager. Exactly. That's his personality. He's an affable, happy-go-lucky, just a nice dude who people like to hang out and go for a beer with and play crazy golf with. That's him. Talk football. Talk shop. People love him for that. But people don't sit down and go, Aaron Boone, give me your baseball knowledge, please. Because he doesn't have that much. Anything that he knows has been inherited from his generations of Boones, right? But he doesn't give off any impression that he has this incredible baseball intellect. He just doesn't. And he wasn't a good player either. He was, what did Joe Torre describe him as? He described him as skittish. He was skittish. He was skittish as a player. He was kind of nervous. How is that a good manager? And the few times that he actually shows a little bit of authority when he chases after the umpires and gives them shit, well, the umpires are getting kind of bored of it. Doesn't make any difference. He's doing it on a once a week basis. Getting himself thrown out of a game, complaining about balls and strikes, doesn't make any difference. They still call strikes balls to strikes to Aaron Judge. You know, they're still calling pitches in the dirt strikes to Aaron Judge. So it doesn't make any freaking difference. It's not like he's actually helping the situation. It just makes him look like he's gives a shit. As a lot of it is optics. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of him as a manager. How many more times are they going to keep making excuses for this guy? This team doesn't perform for him. This team doesn't prepare for him. Can we stop? Exactly, Damien. Per John Heyman, the Yankees are planning to make Boone a tougher manager. Stop it! Stop it! Come the fuck on. I mean, you can't reinvent this. You can't. It's ridiculous. You can't reinvent him as a person and as a manager. He's not a freaking robot. You don't just... He's not a dog. He's not a dog where you train him to be harder. No, he's not. He is who he is. He is who he is. Boone a tougher manager, laughable. It is laughable. He is who he is. You know? You can't... you can't turn a freaking... let's say freaking... think of an example here. Barney the dinosaur. You can't make Barney the dinosaur a fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex, right? You can't do it, right? So why are you trying to make Aaron Boone into something that he's not? You can't make a golden retriever into a freaking pit bull terrier. Completely different. You can't do it. So stop it. If you want a fucking pit bull, go get a fucking pit bull. That ain't Aaron Boone. It just isn't. He is who he is. If you want to talk about Ohio State with him or fucking whatever team he roots for in football, yeah. You want to talk Philadelphia Eagles with him? Yeah, he's your guy. You want to sit down, have a beer, and talk about the old days? Yeah, he's your guy. You come over, have dinner with him and watch TV. Yeah, he's your guy. But if you want someone who's tough, who's going to hold people accountable and lead a competitive environment, and I say lead, he's not your guy. He never has been your guy, never will be your guy. The Yankees are full of shit. They are full of shit if they think that they're going to make him a tougher guy. People are just going to laugh at him because also they know these players aren't dumb. They know who the people in charge are. It's Brian Cashman. He's in charge. It's not Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone is afraid to say anything to the media because Brian Cashman tells him what to say. That's just a fact. And these players know that. They're not dumb. They may not say anything, but they know exactly who rules the roost in the organization. It's Brian Cashman and the analytics crew. So if Aaron Boone starts flexing his muscles, and also these players that have been in the same locker room for 3-4 years, who have seen Aaron Boone act like Michael Scott, and suddenly Aaron Boone's going to start coming in, flexing his muscles, giving people shit, they're going to laugh at him. Because they're not going to take him seriously, because he's not that guy. Give me a frickin' break. The Yankees are full of it. The Yankees are full of shit. Simple as that. Boone is a puppet, and these players know it. Boone is a puppet. These players know it. They're not going to take him seriously when he starts acting the tough guy. Because just think about any job that you've been in the past where you've had a superior over you, a line manager over you, who was your best friend, acting as your best pal, and suddenly, he starts acting the bad guy, and he starts flexing his muscles. Do you take him seriously? No, you think, well, what the fuck's happened to this guy? Right? You're not going to take him seriously. So I wouldn't take Boone seriously. Per Heyman, Yanks making Boone tough by taking away his Hello Kitty lunchbox. Exactly. Oh my God. I give up. I can't believe they're going to try and make Boone a tougher guy. How about just get a better manager? How about that? Now that's truly reinventing the wheel. That is truly reinventing the wheel. Oh, what? So my manager isn't tough or doesn't hold people accountable? Underachieves, gets shitty results, doesn't do anything in the World Series, never has taken us to a World Series, never will take us to a World Series. I'm going to defend that manager. Yeah, he's our guy. Fucking get out of here. Get out of here. Honestly, get out of here. The Yanks can't win with Boone. No, they won't. They won't. They just won't. Dev, I couldn't stand Boone on ESPN. I couldn't stand Boone on ESPN. I thought this guy is absolutely turgid to listen to. And he gets the Yankee job. Unbelievable. Let's get Torrey out of retirement. Please, God. Please, anybody but Boone. I miss the days where the Yankees were actually good and held people accountable. What a shit show. Anyway, one thing that isn't a shit show is our loyal supporters here that tune in every single day and listen to Tats, Rob, myself, and sometimes solo acts like myself. And you know, you guys are awesome. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I can't wait to continue to talk Yankee baseball with you through the off season and into next year. So I'll sign off. I'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend. You guys take care. Have a safe weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. All the best, guys.